Disease of the nose. Today I am going to lecture about disease of the nose. Before starting the disease of the nose, see few words about introduction part. In the introduction part, the human nose is the first organ of the respiratory system. It is also a principal organ in the olfactory system. The shape of the nose is determined by the nasal bones and the nasal cartilages, including the nasal septum, which separates the nostrils and divides the nasal cavity into two. So, the human nose is the first organ of the respiratory system and also the principal organ in the olfactory system. You should keep in mind these two important points. First organ of the respiratory system and the principal organ in the olfactory system. Okay? Next. Anatomy of the nose. The human nose is the first organ of the respiratory system. It is also a principal organ in the olfactory system. The shape of the nose is determined by nasal bones and the nasal cartilages, including the nasal septum, which separates the nostril and divides the nasal cavity into two. So, in the picture, you can see nose in between the two eyes, the nose begins from the glabella to the nasolabial angle. So it has nascian, nasal bridge, supra, tip break and tip of the nose. So inferior to the tip of the nose, the columella divides the nose into two parts, that is nostrils, each nod, right and left. Next, development of the nose. The early development of the embryo, neural crest cells migrate to form the mesenchymal tissue as ectomesenchyme of the pharyngeal arches. By the end of the fourth week, the first pair of the pharyngeal arches form 5 facial prominences or processes, an unpaired frontonasal process, paired mandibular process and paired maxillary process. The nose is largely formed by the fusion of these 5 facial prominences. Nose is formed by during the first end of the fourth week. first pair of the pharyngeal arches forms 5 facial prominences, 1 unpaired prominence, 2 mandibular and 2 maxillary processes. These 5 prominences or processes forms the nose. In addition to that, the frontal nasal process gives rise to the bridge of the nose. The medial nasal process provides the crest and tip of the nose. The medial nasal processes lateral nasal process form the ala or side of the nose. These two side of the nose. In development, the 5 processes, 2 maxillary, 2 mandibular, 1 frontonasal process forms the nose. Medial nasal process provides the crest of the nose and the tip of the nose, whereas lateral nasal processes forms the ala or side of the nose. Ala or side of the nose. The frontal nasal process gives rise to bridge of the nose. This is the bridge of the nose. Okay, you can see the image. In that image, feature apex of the nose, medial nasal process, lateral nasal process, lobular process, maxillary process, stomodium and mandibular arch. Internal structure of the nose. So in this internal structure, explained as follows. The structure of the nose is explained as follows: bone, cartilage, bone. The hard bridge at the top of your nose is made up of bone. The hard bridge at the top of your nose is made up of bone. The next, cartilage. The upper cartilage provides support to the sides of the nose. The upper cartilage provides support to the sides of the nose. The lower cartilage adds width and height of the nose. Cartilages are upper cartilage, lower cartilage. The upper cartilage provides support to the sides of the nose, and the lower cartilage adds width and height to the nose. So it provides shape to the nostrils and nose tip. Next, nasal cavity. It is the hollow space through which air flows. Air and cilia. Air and cilia, a tiny hair-like structure inside your nose, trap dirt and particles. Then they move those particles towards your nostrils, where can be seen out or wiped away. Septum. The nasal septum divides the inside of the nose into 2 chambers. Septum is a thin wall made up of bones and cartilage. Mucous membrane. The mucous membrane the nose, lines the nose, sinuses, and throat. It moistens and warms the air we breathe in. It moistens and warms the air we breathe in. It also forms a sticky mucus that prevents dust and other small particles from the nose. Sinuses. We have 4 pairs of sinuses. These air-filled pockets are connected to nasal cavities. They produce mucus that keeps the nose moist. Turbinates. There are 3 pairs of turbinates located along the sides of both nasal cavities. Along the both sides of both nasal cavities, there are 3 pairs of turbinates. These folds inside the nose help warm and moisten air after we breathe it in and help with nasal damage. These turbinates are 3 in pairs located along the sides of both nasal cavities. These folds inside the nose help warm and moisten the air. You can see in the picture there are 3. The lateral view, there is a superior turbinate, middle turbinate, inferior turbinate. Superior turbinate is the uppermost one, middle turbinate is the in between the superior and inferior turbinate. Next, structure of the nose. Several bones and cartilages make up of the bony cartilaginous framework of nose and the internal structure. Several bones and cartilages make up the bony cartilaginous framework of the nose and the internal structure. This is the olfactory nasal cavity, cubiculum plate of the complete. So in this picture, you can see the olfactory tract, olfactory bulb, olfactory nerves, which are enter into the nasal cavity. So through cribriform plate. Bones of the nose. The bony structure of the nose is provided by maxilla, frontal bone, and a number of smaller bones. So, bones of the nose are formed by frontal bone, maxillary bone, and other smaller bones. Frontal bone contains frontal sinus, maxillary bone contains maxillary sinus, and also other small bones, which include sphenoid bone, horizontal plate of palatine bone, this is a section of the nose. Next, cartilage of nose. Nasal cartilages are structures within the nose that provide, form and support the nasal cavity. The nasal cavities are made up of flexible material called hyaline cartilage. The nasal cartilages are made up of flexible material called hyaline cartilage in the distal portion of the nose. There are 5 individual cartilages that make up the nasal cavity. Septal nasal cartilage, number 1, lateral nasal cartilage, major alar cartilage or greater alar cartilage or cartilage of the upper chair, minor alar cartilage or lesser alar cartilage or sesamoid cartilage or accessory cartilage, and omoronasal cartilage, that is also called as Jacobson's cartilage. Omoronasal cartilage is also called as Jacobson cartilage. Muscles of the nose. The muscles of the nose are subgroup of facial muscles. Muscles of the nose are a subgroup of facial muscles. They are involved in respiration and facial expressions. These muscles of the nose includes number 1, the procerus. Number 2, nasalis. Number 3, depressor septi nasi. Number 4, levator labii superioris. Number 5, alacti nasi. Number 6, orbicularis oris of the mouth. As all of the facial muscles, the muscles of the nose are innervated by facial nerve and its branches. All these muscles of the nose are innervated by the muscles of the facial. Blood supply. Blood supply of the nose is provided by branches of ophthalmic, maxillary and facial arteries, which are branches of carotid arteries. The branches of these arteries anastomose to form flexus in and under the nasal mucosa. All these branches form anastomosis and form the plexus Kisselbach's plexus, common site of nose bleeding, which is a common site of nose bleeding. It is also called as Little's area. The blood supply of the nose are found by anterior and posterior ethmoidal arteries, sphenopalatine artery, greater palatine artery, superior labial artery. All these forms under the nasal mucosa anastomosis to form a plexus called Kisselbach's plexus or Kisselbach's plexus, also known as Little's area. The Little's area. Nerve supply of the nose. The nerve supply of the nose and paranasal sinuses comes from two branches of trigeminal nerve, the ophthalmic nerve, the maxillary nerve, and the branches of the nose. Of these, nerve supply nose and paranasal sinuses comes from two branches of trigeminal nerve, ophthalmic nerve, maxillary nerve, and branches from these. Nerve supply of the nose and paranasal sinuses comes from two branches of trigeminal nerve, ophthalmic nerve, maxillary nerve, and its branches. The sense of smell is transmitted by olfactory nerves. Olfactory nerves are a bundle of very small unmyelinated axons that are derived from olfactory receptor neurons in the olfactory mucosa. The smell, that is sensory supply of the nose, is by olfactory nerves. Olfactory nerves are a bundle of very small unmyelinated axons that are derived from olfactory receptor neurons in the olfactory mucosa. Functions of the nose. Nose is the first organ of the upper respiratory tract in the respiratory system. Its main respiratory function is the supply and conditioning by warming, moisturizing, and filtering of particulates of inhaled air. Particles of inhaled air. Nasal air in the nostril traps large particles, preventing their entry into the lungs. Smell. The nose also plays a major part in the olfactory system. It contains an area of specialized cells, olfactory receptor neurons, responsible for the sense of smell. Olfactory mucosa in the upper nasal cavity contains a type of nasal gland called olfactory glands or Bowman's glands, which help in olfaction. The nasal conchae also help in olfaction function by directing airflow to the olfactory region. Speech. Third function of is speech. There are three main functions of the nose. One is respiratory function, in which it warms the inhaled air and also prevents the particles which are present in the breathing air. The next is smell through olfactory nerves. And speech is produced with the pressure from the lungs. This can be modified using air flow through the nose in a process called nasalization. Clinical symptoms. One of the most common medical conditions involving the nose is nosebleed, that is epistaxis. Most common medical condition involving the nose is nosebleed. Most nosebleeds occurs in Kesselbach's plexus, a vascular plexus in the lower front part of the septum, involving the convergence of four arteries. A smaller portion of nosebleeds that tend to be non-traumatic occur in Woodruff's plexus. Woodruff's plexus is a venous plexus of large thin-walled vein lying in the posterior part of the inferior meatus. Another common condition is nasal congestion, usually a symptom of infection, particularly sinusitis. And third, inflammation. Third one is inflammation of the nasal lining called rhinitis, including allergic rhinitis, non-allergic rhinitis. Fourth, clinical significance is chronic nasal obstruction resulting in breathing through the mouth can greatly impair or prevent the nostrils from flaring. One of the causes of snoring is nasal obstruction, causing the nasal obstruction. Most conditions of nasal congestion also cause a loss of the sense of smell, anosmia. This may also occur in other conditions, for example, following trauma in Kallmann syndrome or Parkinson's disease. In children, the nose is a common site for foreign bodies. Nose is one of the exposed area that is susceptible to frostbite. Conclusion. So finally, the nose is the prominent structure between the eyes that serves as the entrance to the respiratory tract, contains olfactory function. It provides air for respiration, serves the sense of smell. It cleans itself of foreign debris extracted from inhalation. Several bones and cartilage make up the bony cartilaginous framework of the nose and internal structure. Nose is also made up of types of soft tissues such as skin, epithelia, mucous membrane, muscles, nerves, and blood vessels. Thank you.